Hey everybody, this is Trish Kane, founder of Healerverse. Every week, 10:30 on Fridays, we do the Roundtable. And I just want to say hello to everybody. I'm so happy to be here with such amazing people on the Roundtable. And if you're live, welcome. If you're watching us virtually, welcome. A lot of people are finding us from YouTube and finding our amazing practitioners. Healerverse is really special because we have real people that are practitioners, not AI bots. We love AI but we love healers. So today we have a most amazing practitioner that's been my friend for probably well over a year now. We met, and his name is John Force, and he's been doing some really incredible things in his community, but also, John is really cool. He's put Healerverse on metaverses before. Like, he really has been all gung ho about Healerverse since the beginning. So I'm so happy to introduce him to you guys today, so he can tell you more about what he does, what he's doing, and what he can offer to humanity and to the world. And I cannot wait to hear his updates. Welcome.
Thank you, Trish. I appreciate it. And it's been a pleasure getting to know you and believe in the Healerverse and what's happening. What brought me to the Healerverse is really, exploring personal introspection and growth myself, in my own life. And that's how I sort of stumbled across what you're doing, and have been a part of it pretty much from the beginning, which has been a great experience to meet so many amazing people and hear just the varied and different approaches to reaching humanity. Like I said, my name's John Force. I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Pennsylvania. I'm also a certified advanced alcohol and drug counselor here in the state of Pennsylvania. I currently hold a gambling treatment endorsement with the state. And I'm a certified clinical trauma professional. So currently my day job is I'm the director of an adult long-term structured residential facility. We are a nonprofit, and basically our program was developed to help people who are incarcerated and struggle with mental health or substance abuse issues, primarily mental health, to get the treatment that they need, because we know that they don't get that treatment while they're incarcerated. So getting them fast-tracked to getting into a program, getting clinical psychotherapy, medication management if necessary, and socialization skills. We get a wide range of people, different levels of intensity for mental health, and different treatment needs. So one of the best parts of this job is, again, the varied approaches that we use to reach people. Outside of this job, I also do outpatient mental health therapy virtually. The practice is physically located in Berks County, Pennsylvania. So I am licensed to see anybody in the state of Pennsylvania for treatment. Anything outside of the state of Pennsylvania would be a non-clinical relationship, more so of a coaching, recovery support of that nature. So a little bit about me. First and foremost, I'm a grateful recovering addict. It has a lot to do with my story and why I do the things that I do. So to not go into too much detail about the past, pretty much from high school until 2013, when I was at 29 years old, I finally had been beaten over the head enough from addiction to kind of come to a place of surrender and acceptance that something really needed to change. So in 2013, homelessness, incarceration, end-stage addiction, I made the decision to get treatment with the support of family and friends and the system, and got sober in 2013. So April 13, 2013 is my sobriety date. And it's been an amazing experience. It's been a learning process. I think everybody's recovery process is very individualized to themselves, but it also relies on connection with people. And that's one of the biggest things that I saw with myself and other people that I help is really a disconnect for relationships and connection with others. So, early in recovery, I had to realize that I was a pretty closed-minded person. I wish I could remember the name of the book, but a huge part of the process was getting in touch with some type of spirituality. And when I work with people that are in recovery, that's a real difficult spot for them. Either they are mad with their spiritual beliefs, they're angry, they're confused about what's happened in their lives, or they've never really had anything like that prior to getting sober. So it can be really, really uncomfortable. For myself, I was a pretty ardent atheist. That was a perspective that I grew up with. So that really shut down a lot of the traditional pathways to recovery. Really, I wish I could remember the name of the book. I read it while I was incarcerated for the final time, and it was written by an optometrist who was also an atheist, and he was studying the eye, the human eye, and he, under a microscope, watched an eye as a little, like a microorganism with a tail, they call it a flagellum, was spinning at a really high rate of speed. The organism stopped, turned 90 degrees, and the tail, the flagellum, started spinning at the same speed instantly. And watching that process, kind of a light bulb went off in the doctor's brain and said, this is a little bit too perfect. This is a little bit too miraculous, and this is just one small piece of what makes us up. And that understanding was the shred of open-mindedness and willingness that that person needed to entertain a different perspective. And that book offered me that same perspective. So if I can track it down, Trish, I will get the title and share it with you.
I would love that. Yeah, thank you for sharing all that. And, I feel in my experience that most of the people that are incarcerated are actually the most sensitive and spiritual, just like addiction and alcoholism. Yeah, it's like basically this world is not easy to live in for most of us that are sensitive, and we wind up in different situations, and and it's usually like the most sensitive people. And you know what else I love? I love that you're helping people and giving back too. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Um,
So how long were you incarcerated? And I love, can I just mention too?
yes.
I love that you started with your story, because that's always what I love to ask people on here is like, do you mind? So you started with it, which is even better. I didn't have to ask. And how long were you inside for?
So I did a multiple sentences. The longest stint that I ever had to do consecutively was 6 months. This is the crazy part about recovery is nobody really knows what somebody's bottom's going to be or when that light bulb will go off. And the things that people think should make it go off oftentimes don't. So prior to that sentence, my firstborn daughter had been born, and I got a DUI while I was on probation for a first DUI. So pretty much a month after she was born, I was taken away from her, and did 6 months consecutively. I mean, in between then and there, 3 months stays, a couple months stays for probation violations for not just staying clean or doing what I needed to do, because I hadn't surrendered at that time to taking a look at myself. But 6 months was the longest consecutive time period that I ever spent incarcerated.
So what are some of the tools that you see now do help people with early recovery and longer term recovery to tap into their spiritual life? And what are some tools that you typically offer to them to work through things and to come to a new life?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question, because there's a lot of pathways right now, because people, I think it's a societal thing as well. We really like things tailor-made to us. So, and that's why I shared my experience too, is because like my recovery pathway started off pretty traditionally. So when people get sober, in the first those first weeks, months, 12-step programs are highly encouraged for people. And they come with a host of really positives, and then there's things that people may not like about them, whether it's religious-based language, the makeup of the groups, the demographics. You run into rural and urban issues. Now tele-meetings are available for people. So, we encourage people to really look at 12-step programs because it offers a window into self-reflection, acceptance, and surrender. And it also provides people the ability to socialize and connect with others who have a shared experience. And the power of that is really healing and therapeutic in itself. So those are that's one of the easiest ways to get somebody tied in with a recovery community that we would suggest. And it's very traditional. And I started that way too, very traditional. There's a quote real quick I just want to share. If anybody has access to Netflix, there's a shameless plug for Netflix. I don't work for Netflix. There is a documentary on there called Stutz, and it's a documentary about the actor Jonah Hill and his relationship with his therapist, Philip Stutz, who's a psychotherapist out in New York. And he has a quote. It's 3 things in life that everybody has to deal with. Nobody can escape. And it's pain, uncertainty, and constant work. And if you would have asked me that question before I got sober, I would have said I had the work part down. I like to work. I work all the time. I hated pain and uncertainty, but then I realized it's not just constant work, physical labor, or working for money. It's constant work on ourselves. So aside from 12-step meetings, some of the other things that we really like to encourage people in recovery to do is really start to take care of themselves. And that sometimes gets overlooked, that self-care in early recovery. You go to meetings, you go to treatment, there may be medications involved, but really sitting with ourselves, because that uncertainty piece, people don't like uncertainty at all. And, a lot of us that are recovering thrive in chaos, and we don't like to sit still. So some of the things that I've become more recently interested in for, kind of addressing that and some of those tendencies are some more non-traditional approaches. So I was lucky enough to do a sound bath. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with sound baths. I really wasn't. If you would have asked me in my youth, I would have never considered sitting through a sound bath. But out here in Western Pennsylvania, there's a cave system called Laurel Caverns. And I was lucky enough to attend a sound bath in the bottom of the cave. The practitioner set up the bowls. We had to trek down to the bottom. It's very dark, and proceeded to facilitate a sound bath. The acoustics in the cave were amazing, and really you're just left with yourself in the moment and really experiencing the here and the now. And I got up from that realizing how much people could benefit from it. So this is something I'm going to incorporate with myself. At the end of this month, in middle of March, I'll be trained as a sound healing practitioner, the ability to perform sound bath ceremonies. And I want to bring that to the job my day job. That's how much I believe in it, as well as outside people that I help and see. We had applied for a grant at this place of employment. We did make it to the second round. Unfortunately, in the field, the idea of evidence-based, and I use quotes, there's a place for it. However, sometimes things can be very beneficial, and maybe there's just not enough evidence about it, or it hasn't been an area of study. So getting grant funding for things like that can be difficult. So we didn't make it past the second round, but I was lucky enough to secure funds for training myself. And then I can take that and use that and help other people in the community bring that intervention to their practices through training them, working with them, and being a resource for them as well.
John, kudos to you for going out to strive to get a grant for sound healing for your community. Like when you told us recently on one of the round tables that you were doing that, that even changed my mindset. I think it changed a lot of our mindsets, and we've cracked a lot of other codes together as well for things that we can probably get grants for and get done, right? And I hope that you know that you doing that is a huge win in general, and that also has perpetrated a lot of other actions for me, based on you doing that and bringing that to our attention. And congratulations, it's huge.
Thank you. And I mean, it was, again, the uncertainty, that the constant work of self-reflection. There was a lot of anxiety about, are we going to get it? Was this a good idea or not? But ultimately, going through the process and doing things is the only way that we ever learn. I mean, when things are going good, I don't learn a lot. I usually learn through a setback or through some attempt that was made. And then that there was learning that happened from it. So another area of interest is also nature-informed therapy. So one of the best things that I've personally done for myself is, when I need those days of self-care and, it's not really a day for social connection or a meeting, getting lost in the woods, really being present with nature, losing track of time, when time doesn't have to exist. Those are really therapeutic interventions. There's evidence behind these things. We do currently have a greenhouse on the grounds that the people that we work with access. I would like to get another one and incorporate some equine therapy. There's a lot of farms around here. There's people that do it close to us, but really getting in touch with nature, because these are things that people can use for free. It doesn't cost anything to go be outside. It's all about the intent. Another area of interest for myself, which is, and I think that this has been a theme with a lot of the recovering community, is the idea of psychedelic integration. So I am a trained practitioner to do ketamine integration sessions. I personally will not do it virtually. That's just a decision that I make it personally. Other people do it virtually, but I will not do it virtually. And it's caused a lot of controversy with people that are in recovery about what that role is for them. Does it impact, does it impact their sobriety? Does it take away all the work that they've done? And that really is a personal reflection that can be worked out with a therapist or a sponsor. But ultimately that comes down to their decision. And really the intent behind it. Is it to get high? Is it to have another experience? Or is there really some work that's happening? And especially with opioid disorders, there's a lot of research right now into ibogaine. A lot of really good results that are happening from that. And I see a lot of initiatives being taken around the country to more research to this, to try to apply this. So that's another area of interest. And the last, you were talking about Web3. So yes, the metaverse. One of the things about culture and technology is that we can do things better than usually what we're doing. So Zoom is cool, but it's not immersive. So, one of the ideas that I've had for teletherapy and distance therapy is really doing it within the metaverse virtually. So what I mean by that is, instead of a two-dimensional screen like this, you can create a space in the metaverse that looks just like a counseling office. It could be a nature-based counseling practice. It could be anything. And then in that environment, you would be sitting immersively with your person as though you were there. that application could also provide options for the ability to create individualized and tailored scenarios for exposure therapy. So an example of this would be, if somebody loaded up a simulation for myself, I could be walking in the Badlands of Philadelphia with my counselor, and somebody could come up and offer me drugs. Well, that would provide an in-the-spot moment to apply relapse prevention skills, CBT interventions on what's the thought, what's the automatic thought that you would do here, what's a different approach. So it provides a lot of avenues to explore how that technology could actually benefit people remotely.
That's awesome. And you did build a lot of stuff out in the metaverse. What metaverses were you in again?
All right, so I am, I don't know, I'm going on a little tangent with the crypto. I don't know if anybody
You
in
could
here
definitely tap into it. I think it's always good to like educate our fellow practitioners and community about it. I think you and I have a lot more knowledge and people are looking to learn. My book doesn't really talk about that. Like it just helps people to like know what's out there and how to get there. But you have insight, like, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that, initially, it's the same with spirituality. I was really closed off to the idea of Web3 or cryptocurrency. I was never really a tech guy growing up, so it was all really foreign to me. But, pretty much during COVID, I became very interested in our financial system, the way that money works, the loss of value of our money, different ways to exchange services for payment that isn't in the dollar. So crypto became an area of interest for me. The main blockchain that I'm associated with is the XRP ledger, which has been in the news. It's one of the bigger cryptocurrencies out there. The token is XRP, but on the XRP network, there is a metaverse called Expectar, and Expectar has multiple zones. There's a I'm trying to think, like a beach resort area, a hillside. There's a city, and you can create spaces there and do things virtually. You could have a clothing business, make money. You could have a therapy practice. You can sell goods and services. I'm friendly with somebody that runs a coffee company on Web3 that you can pay with cryptocurrency instead of cash. So what this means for therapy would be, if anybody knows what an NFT is, most people think of it as digital art, like a picture, a JPEG that's worth a lot of money. But NFTs can be more than that. I have an NFT in my wallet right now that is actually a 10-minute guided meditation with a talking tree. And it's all hand-drawn, animated, but it's actually a usable 10-minute meditation. So if somebody was interested in that or having a series of those, that could be something that could be marketed as a tool. People buy journals, or they buy playlists or clips of things, videos. Somebody could buy an NFT that includes the same information, whether that be therapy videos, it could be meditations, it could be sound baths.
Thank you for sharing all that. That's so cool. And the way you explained it makes it a lot easier for people to understand too. I like that.
That's the hardest part about it, because usually when I have these conversations, it is difficult, sometimes even for myself, to wrap my mind around it. But it is something that I don't think is going to go away, and there could be real world applications for this. The plots that I have in Expectar, I'm looking into getting a graphic artist to build a healing center in the metaverse where sound baths could be conducted, therapy could be conducted, social meetings could be conducted. Support groups could be conducted. So all that stuff could exist there, and it would be much more immersive than telephone call or Zoom.
Totally. And then it's on blockchain instead of Zoom and like servers, right? So I'm guessing that it's more likely to stay up if all the servers start going down.
Yeah.
And then what a time we are in now that actually like to even say that out loud, like, hey, actually, we'll see what happens with all the servers and stuff, but like blockchain, like it's always moving. So yeah, super cool. And yeah, so what are you doing now for your own like spiritual life and holistic life? And what are some different practices that you do for yourself?
Yeah, so over the past few years, I've lost a pretty significant amount of weight. So exercise more so from a place of self-compassion and love rather than results has actually yielded the same results, which has been a learning process in itself. Before when I ventured down a weight loss journey, it was, I'd go to the gym 2 times. It was very addictive and obsessive. Right? It's one thing that we have to learn about ourselves. If we have that addiction gene, is that it goes to other things. So it turned into a very obsessive, self-deprecating process, really neurotic. This time when I did it, I actually made the decision to be a lot more loving and kind to myself, take my time, and not focus on, how much I could do, but rather consistency. And again, it's yielded the same results and I'm much happier. And when I do it, it's more of a mindfulness activity. So if I'm anxious, I will do push-ups. I'll use resistance bands. I have a set here in my office next to me. So that's something that I do. I really like to get lost in nature because time is something that has always been hard for me. I feel a lot of pressure about time. So when I can find myself in situations intentionally where I don't have to worry about that, and I can be with myself, they're very, very healing and grounding. Going to see new things and experiences is something that I've been doing much more of. Typically, if I would think about doing things like that, I would move to what are my responsibilities? What comes before this? And being a lot more flexible with giving myself that time. So I've gotten to see a lot of cool things. I went to see Falling Water, the Frank Lloyd Wright house out here in Western Pennsylvania, the cave system. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, Trish. It's called the Palace of Gold.
No, that sounds amazing.
It's in West Virginia. It's at the top of a hill. And I don't want to butcher a sect or a denomination. Believe it was Hare Krishna. But it was basically this beautiful temple that was built by devotees in the middle of West Virginia.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's
Because
called.
West Virginia is like a small state, right? Wait, did you send me this last year, actually? You might
I,
have, or we might have talked about this last year.
I
Yeah.
probably did. I probably did send it to
Yeah.
you. But it's called New Verendum. So, just going to places where people are into Serpent Mound, traveling to Serpent Mound in Ohio. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Serpent Mound.
In
There's a lot.
Ohio. Oh, a
Yeah.
serpent on the mount?
Yeah, basically, it's a dirt effigy that's formed in the shape of a snake. And all of the coils and the bends in the snake line up to lunar cycles.
Cool.
Yeah, and this was created a very, very long time ago.
Wow.
But going there, walking barefoot
I think,
on the site and kind of just existing there, things like that are what I do now because
yeah.
they bring me to self-reflection.
Yeah, like you have been doing a lot of that, and I love to see it.
So that's
Yeah.
what I'm
I
doing.
know we were talking about building like an off-grid like compound kind of. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So you know ideas, and that's kind of, maybe that's something I need to get better at. I always have a lot of ideas, but follow through. Some of that has to do with money.
Some of that, though, not to interrupt you, oops, I just did. Not to interrupt you, like that's so not even true. But like, I feel like sometimes when we speak things into existence more and more, and we write stuff down, we're able to manifest them faster. And I will say that everyone that I know on this call right now has like the same purpose and mission and vision that you do. So you never know who's going to hear what you want to do that will be like, John, and then you'll be getting phone calls. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
it's a good perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the dream for me would be to secure a piece of land, preferably that has water on it, running water, and create a nature-based therapy practice in the woods. In my head, I think about individualized counselor offices made out of tiny houses where they could kind of create the space that they want. There could be a cooking area. So if somebody wanted to eat with somebody, break bread, that could be a therapeutic thing. There would be the larger centers for group work, retreat work, yoga, meditation, sound baths. I'd like to have a recreational area, potentially with ropes or something like that, like a ropes course or a rock wall somewhere. But yeah, just really based in nature, that would be utilized as a traditional outpatient practice where people could come to, or could also host weekend retreats. And a real big area of interest for me is the idea of the loss of initiation in our culture. It seems that a lot of other cultures, and over the course of human history, there's been some type of initiation process into adulthood. As a man, I'll speak about initiation into manhood. We don't really have that here. I mean, what would it be? Graduating high school, getting your first job. There's really not that process. So, that's been an area of exploration for me. I don't have any ideas really yet, but, the idea of what is an initiation and how does that work for our psyche and finding our complete selves.
Yeah, Manny wrote in the chat, John, everyone, let's talk about Off-Grid Village. We're on it.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, we were even talking about like last year. Was that last year or the year before? I
It
don't know.
probably was last year,
Yeah.
potentially before, Trish. It's been a minute.
Oh yeah, okay, so that wasn't 25. It was
Mhm.
like 24. We were talking about getting yurts. Do you remember this?
Yes, I
We were
do.
talking about getting yurts and like building like a compound. And you know what's so cool back then? It felt so far off. But right now it doesn't feel so far off.
No, and I think people are really excited about thinking a little bit differently about what recovery, and that doesn't just have to be addiction, but just,
Yeah.
recovery and self-actualization looks like. Because like if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of need, safety and security is just above our most fundamental needs, food, water, shelter, feeling safe. And I think people assess themselves wrong and that they live at that state much more than they realize, or they care to realize, or they want to admit. Um, so I think that, a more of a holistic approach to healing and therapy is definitely getting a lot of traction with people. I know last roundtable, Manny had talked about a V code for billing. That has actually prompted me to start a conversation with the insurance company that I work with to see, how do we integrate that into our treatment so that, as a nonprofit, we can continue to at least bill for those services, but that they're seen as viable, and making a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. After like a couple round tables ago, I like created a group chat for several of us that have a little bit of a clinical background to figure out how to get that covered, like you said. And I actually did heavy research, and I have possibly cracked the code like in entirety. But it involves a whole operation. But partnering with like what you have, for example, makes it possible because I did literally do heavy research. Basically, you just need one therapist on staff and you're good to go.
Yeah,
That's it. Yeah,
sweet.
I did. I cracked the code.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I love what you talked about ropes, like ropes courses. Like seriously, that taps into my inner child so much. And I think part of healing is literally tapping into our inner children within us. And maybe some of us didn't get the opportunity to do stuff like that. And there's different dreams that we had that we would love to just, hopefully our bodies can still handle it because I'm not the way I was when I was like 15 or even like 30 or 35 even. But yeah, but that would be so fun to do that. It would be so fun to do that like Team Healerverse, like all of us, like going and doing a ropes course and having like, I don't know, like holistic healers versus spiritual gurus. And some of us can go on either side, I'll go with the spiritual people.
Yeah, it's really cool to watch people face their fears. And I'm really glad that you brought up that point about being more childlike because, to piggyback off of that and not to steal what you're saying, but I mean, that has also been a big part of current self-care. So, I had a Harley, but what I found was that riding a bicycle, um, has been one of the most grounding experiences that I have done in a very, very long time. And when I first did it again after years, it's like I feel like a kid. This is so much fun. Just the hair, the wind in your hair, and you have to be totally in the moment when you're riding a bicycle. Your mind can kind of wander when you're on a motorcycle, but on the bicycle, you have to be present or you're going to crash. Yeah, got to be present, especially if it's a little bit of a tricky trail. You have to be in that moment at that
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Oh, so you're talking about you've been going like mountain biking.
Yes, yes.
Whoa.
It started in COVID, so like when we were
Yeah.
all housebound, um, you know, we had gone out to try to purchase bicycles, to get outside, like everybody did. And when we got there, there was only 4 bicycles left. So I walked out with a bicycle that was way too expensive, out of my range in skill level, but it has been a really, really eye-opening experience and really getting in touch with that child part. Um, there's a lot of healing that goes because that's, a lot of times some of those negative distortions that we work through with people or their trauma, like those understandings are developed in childhood. So we're working with childlike perspectives from an adult body. So
Mhm.
these are great things for people to do.
Yeah, I love that. Does anyone have any questions for John?
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
I took down a lot of notes, John. Definitely. Thank you for sharing a lot of notes, things, insights that you said, a lot of things that clicked for me. So I appreciate you sharing your journey, your story, your passions, your projects. Definitely resonates. So thank you.
Thanks, Alvin. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you could come.
I foresee that a lot of magic is going to come out of you, Mr. Forrest. And I truly believe that all your dreams are going to come true. And like, let's just all keep putting our portal of our dreams into reality and see what happens,
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of magic is happening off the record. I've been saying that the last couple weeks. Behind the scenes for humanity, and I have a lot of insider information. And I believe that everybody on this call's dreams are going to come true because they're all going to be supported and they're all going to be completely funded also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last thing I'll say is that there is something I do. I am a team member on an NFT project called Digital Palm. And we are actually using the sales of NFTs, and we run a validator that operates 50% APR. So what we're using with that money is there's going to be a resort that's being built in the country of Oman on the beach. Yes. And that will have like little little units along the beach. There'll be camel rides. There's a go-kart track that's in the works. So, yeah, these are like the in real life. We call it IRL, but the in real life things that are happening with this digital space that people don't understand. Like it's building real communities, real things, real projects. There's fundraising that goes to good causes. It's so much more than art or some abstract token.
Yeah, it basically puts information on the blockchain and it makes stuff transparent
That's
and
right.
allows you to see what was put on there. And it gives you possibly like an ownership stake in something like fractional NFTs or
Right.
whatever. Yeah. And I heard that Oman has the nicest beach. I was just literally right there. I just got back from Dubai like 2 days ago. And I heard Oman is amazing. And so I'm definitely coming to that resort.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Let's go. I love Healerverse and I love you guys so much. Is there anything else you want to tell us, Sean? Anything else you want to say?
N- I mean, that's a huge question actually at the end of this. No, I'm just really grateful. I'm really grateful to have, the Healerverse in my life. I'm grateful to be able to be in a position to give back. I mean, life doesn't stop when we get sober or we've put down those behaviors. Like things still continue to happen. I heard the phrase life quake. Described as really heavy things that happen to people. Mine seem to come every 10 years, life quakes. But you're really grateful to be in a position to get through those things and figure them out and provide a space for other people. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I love you so much. You're amazing. And I'm excited for this to go live. And I'm so excited about what's going to transpire because of all of this. Thank you guys. I love you guys. Hit up John on Healerverse. And if you have any questions about what he's going to be doing, I'm so grateful for this catch up. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Trish.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trish.